So now we're gonna dive into some incorrect reasons for why the Umayyads are accused of being Nasibi. In the previous chapter, we talked about why the Umayyads held the positions that they do regarding Ali, why they held that negative position, and we gave a lot of legitimate, reasonable, realistic reasons. But there's incorrect reasons of why the Umayyads are accused of being Nasibis, and a lot of these are unfortunately being propagated by the Shia in our days. So the Shia often fantasize about this long eternal rivalry between the Hashemites and the Umayyads. They claim that all of these conflicts that took place between Ali and Muawiyah, and later between Yazid and Hussein, are due to the fact that these two clans had enmity since long before Islam even started, and it continued in the time of Islam. This is incorrect. This is something that is incorrect. It's no more than a fantasy, actually. The relations between Hashim and Umayyah, the relation between Hashim and Umayyah, were nothing out of the ordinary. Nor was there anything, unexpected in the way they treated each other. The Prophet ﷺ, who was from Banu Hashim, married into their clan, right? Because one of the Prophet's wives was who? Habiba. And she's the daughter of who? She's a daughter of Abu Sufyan, who is the head of Banu Umayyah. And also, what did he do? The Prophet married 3 of his daughters to Umayyads. 2 of his daughters, they were married to Uthman bin Affan, as you all know. And one of his other daughters was married to another Umayyad at the time. Furthermore, the Prophet ﷺ appointed, when he was, in his time of prophethood, he appointed Umayyads in positions of authority more than any other clan. So when he would leave, for example, Medina, he would appoint somebody to take care of Medina. And that person would be, for example, Umayyad. And he kept appointing Umayyads. If you review the books of history, he appointed Umayyads all the time, more than anybody else. So that claim which they are making, that there's some ancient enmity between them, and it continued in Islam and then after Islam, this is not accurate whatsoever. Furthermore, many Umayyads embraced Islam and were loyal and loving to the Prophet ﷺ and his household. And so it's not like if they were mortal enemies, they wouldn't embrace Islam. These guys embraced Islam at the time of the Prophet. And we're not talking about people who embraced Islam towards the end. We're talking about people who embraced Islam quite early. So why then is it that when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, Abu Sufyan, he actually tried his best more than once to convince Ali ibn Abi Talib to become the Khalifa instead of Abu Bakr? So this is actually well recorded in the books of history with sound chains that Abu Sufyan, when the Prophet ﷺ passed away and Abu Bakr became a Khalifa, Abu Sufyan was upset because Banu Taym, which is the clan of Abu Bakr, was considered a lowly, insignificant clan that had no power, that had nothing. Whereas in people like Abu Sufyan viewed that the prestige and honor of leadership should be transferred to Banu Hashim. So Abu Sufyan went to Ali and told Ali, I will support you if you want, I'll support you with soldiers and an army to take down Abu Bakr. And Ali refused. In fact, Talha and Zubair and the Khawarij, when they fought Ali, none of them were Umayyads. So to claim that this is something just between the Umayyads and between Ali, this is not accurate. The Khawarij were not Umayyads. Talha and Zubair were not Umayyads. There was no holy war between the Umayyads and the Hashemites. When the Prophet announced Islam, some Umayyads, as we said, embraced it quickly, just like some Hashemites did as well, whereas some Umayyads opposed it staunchly, as well as some Hashemites. Like some of the Prophet's relatives opposed his prophethood. They didn't embrace Islam right away. So there's nothing out of the ordinary. This thing that they're trying to come up with, this theory that the Umayyads and the Hashemites have always hated each other, this is not accurate. So another thing is, another incorrect reason, is their claim that Umayyads fought Ali because he killed some of their relatives in the early wars. So they're claiming now that the Umayyads, the reason that their hatred for Ali is mainly because Ali killed their relatives in the early wars of Islam, meaning during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Again, this is not a valid reason because other companions also fought against the pagans among the Umayyads. We never heard that they sought retribution from any of them or their children. Like many of the Sahaba, they fought against Banu Umayyah when Banu Umayyah were non-Muslims, and they killed some of them. Not in any history book do we read that the Umayyads, went for this or that Sahabi and they punished him for what he did, or they punished his children for what their fathers did. Secondly, if this was an act of revenge, they would have done it while they were in authority in Uthman's time, and they had many years to do it. So as you know, the Umayyads were in power. Uthman bin Affan was the Khalifa. He was from Bani Umayyah. Muawiyah was a governor, and then some of Uthman's relatives were in position of authority. If they wanted to seek revenge from Ali bin Abi Talib, because the Shia are saying that the reason the Umayyads fought Ali and Muawiyah, made a war against Ali because Ali killed his fathers. Well, I mean, the Umayyads were in charge for so many years, maybe 12 years, Uthman's time. Why didn't they do it then? Why would they wait until Ali becomes the Khalifa and then Ali has an army on his side? Then suddenly the Umayyads remember that they have to wage a war against Ali and kill him because of what he did to their fathers. Why didn't you do that? You had all the time to do it. Additionally speaking, almost all of Muawiyah's army, the people who were fighting against Ali, the Syrians, okay, they were mainly Syrians and some of the Ansar. And Ali hadn't killed any of their relatives. So none of them had any excuse to hate Ali. Ali hadn't killed any of the relatives of these Syrians, nor has he killed any of the relatives of these Ansar. So again, this is second opinion, which makes absolutely no sense that, the Shia try to come up with these things to just romanticize and fantasize over their version of history, which unfortunately is far from the actual history as is recorded in the books of our ancestors. Now, another chapter here that we have is, did the Umayyad caliphs view Ali as a killer of Uthman? The answer is no. Muawiyah, in fact, he praised Ali in an authentic report and requested that Ali hand the killers before offering him allegiance. This suggests that he never considered Ali himself the killer. So when the people approached Muawiyah praised Ali. He said, "Oh no, Ali has a right, and I'm not trying to measure myself to Ali, and Ali is better." This is an Sahih hadith. If he viewed Ali as the killer, Ali was the actual one who killed, he wouldn't be asking Ali to hand the killers. He would be asking Ali to hand himself over, so that Ali gets executed for being the killer. As for Marwan al-Hakam, who was another Umayyad, he was present when Ali was defending Uthman during the siege. And he used to say, according to the authentic reports, that Ali was the biggest defender of Uthman. Marwan admitted himself that Ali was the biggest defender of Uthman bin Affan. And so when the people asked him, why does he curse Ali? Marwan al-Hakam's answer was, I simply do it for political reasons, because it benefits him politically. Similarly, when Marwan's son, the Khalifa Abdul Malik bin Marwan, when he was asked about Ali's role in the incident, he openly said, I do not think Ali is guilty of anything in this regard. So Abdul Malik was quite fair in this. He said he doesn't view him as guilty at all in this. So these allegations, where did they come from then? Where does the allegations that Ali killed Uthman come from? They seem to be mainly coming from the ignorant masses, from the ignorant lay people. Some of the Uthmanis and some of the Alawis at the time. So Uthman's supporters would accuse Ali of killing him without evidence and call him names, right? They would abuse him. Whereas Ali's supporters would boast about his role in killing Uthman. Why? To spite off their opponents, the Umayyads. And both of them are lying, the Uthmanis and the Alawis. Whereas in the majority of the Muslims didn't believe either of these two allegations against Ali and Uthman and continued to love both of them. The majority of the nation continued to love both Ali and Uthman. So it's just the ignorance, the hooligans in both parties, were making these wild accusations to spite off the other party or to get back to the other party. After discussing all of that, now we're going to talk about examples. We're going to give actual examples of how the Umayyad governors enforced anti-Alawite sentiment, how they enforced their policy of spreading a negative view of Ali, among the Muslims. We start with one of the governors in Marwan's family, and we're talking here about the Marwanids, and the Marwanids were the strictest branch of Umayyad against Ali bin Abi Talib. So one of their governors was appointed in Medina, and he went and he ordered the pious Sunni worshipper Sahl bin Sa'd, rahmatullah alayhi, he ordered him, curse Ali. He told him, curse Ali. The Sunni worshipper, Sahl bin Sa'd, refused. So the governor said, then say, I curse Aba Turab. If you're not going to curse Ali, then say, I curse Aba Turab. So Sahl bin Sa'd responded, this was Ali's most beloved name, and he was happy when people called him Abu Turab. This is because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was joking with Ali one day, and he called him Abu Turab. And then he started calling him Abu Turab jokingly. So Ali used to like it, and Ali used to joke a lot. This is something that we're not going to get into now. And so Sahl didn't respond to the governor that he's not going to curse Ali, and in fact told him that you're calling him Abu Turab to insult him, because the Turab means sand or dirt. So it literally means father of dirt. And if you don't know why Ali was called this name, you can look it up online. I'm not going to get into that. But the Umayyads used to use it in a negative way to insult him. All right? Whereas Ali actually used to view it as a praise for himself. So he used to like that name. So this was an example, basically, of how a governor is trying to force a pious Muslim to curse Ali bin Abi Talib. And he was using and abusing his authority to enforce his political view. Another governor called Hisham bin Ismail ordered the pious Sahabi Yazid bin Umayyad ad-Du'ali to verbally abuse Ali bin Abi Talib. Yazid replied, I wouldn't curse him, but if you like, I can speak of his merits and great achievements. This obviously made the governor angry. So the Umayyad governor, was telling the Sahabi, Yazid, to curse him. And look, here you go. That's a person called Yazid, who is a Sahabi and who has a positive name. So feel free to call your children after this Yazid. The worst of the Umayyad governors, by and large, as you all know, was who? Was Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi. And Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he got a hold of the great Sunni scholar, Abdul Rahman bin Abi Layla, rahmatullah alayhi. He got a hold of him. And he was a great scholar from the followers, from the Tabi'in, and a man known for his pro-Alawi views. So he tortured him and sat him in public, then ordered him to curse the liars. And you know what he meant by the liars. You know what Al-Hajjaj meant by the liars. So the Sunni scholar would say, may Allah curse the liars. Then he would stop and moan in pain because he was being tortured. Then after pausing, he would say, Ali ibn al-Zubayr and al-Mukhtar. So notice what the Sunni scholar, notice what Abdurrahman bin Abi Layla was doing. He had no choice. He was going to get executed. And Hajjaj was telling him, curse the liars. So what he would do is he would say, may Allah curse the liars. And then he would stop and start to moan in pain. And what he meant by may Allah curse the liars is Al-Hajjaj and the other governors who were attacking Ali bin Abi Talib. And then after pausing, he would say, Ali and Abdullah ibn Zubayr and Al-Mukhtar, which is the people that Al-Hajjaj was originally asking him to curse. So this is how they were dealing with it. a pious Sunni follower was called Hujr bin Qais al-Yamani. He was from Ahl Sunnah. He was ordered by Muhammad bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi. Muhammad bin Yusuf al-Thaqafi is actually the brother of al-Hajjaj. So Muhammad bin Yusuf ordered him to curse Ali in front of all the people. So he would stand and say, Hujr bin Qais, rahmatullah alayh, he would stand and say, the chief, the Amir, the commander, meaning the chief, Muhammad bin Yusuf, ordered me to curse Ali. So curse him, may God curse him. He would tell the people, so curse him, may God curse him. You all know who Hujr bin who Hujr bin Qais al-Yamani meant. Hujr bin Qais meant curse him, meaning curse Muhammad bin Yusuf. May God curse him. So they were trying to outsmart the governors so as to not get into trouble. Because those oppressive governors were trying to force them to curse Ali bin Abi Talib, and they did not want to curse Ali. They loved Ali. They had a lot of love for Ali in their hearts. So the nation, in brief, the nation resisted. The nation showed resistance. They didn't just roll over and accept what the Umayyads were saying. And many other examples like these can be found in the books of history. But this is just a sample of their policies. And this is why people used to say that Ali was cursed on the pulpits. It's because of things like this. They used to curse him, and some of them even cursed more than this. And we'll come across some of these in later chapters.